Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So right now while I'm working on another video about the titular 2018 game, Detroit Become Human, I've been, sort of re-immersing myself in the world and came across a theory that I wasn't privy to when the game first came out. And it's one that I think is so frightening and fascinating to think about, especially when it comes to all of the sort of thematic language of the game. And on top of how that theory, sort of ends up functioning in the world of Detroit Become Human, I think it itself and my reaction to it has a lot of weight in the real world conversation about AI, the use of AI, the ethics around it, and the ways that we as a society have been sort of crafting a false dystopia around AI for a really long time. And so when I talk about this theory, what is it, right? Honestly, I was looking around for like a post where like I could find sort of the first person talking about this or like the quintessential thing or somebody really breaking it down, but I can't. But basically, the crux of the theory is this idea that the deviants actually weren't alive. Androids were just machines. It really was a virus. It really was a glitch. And anybody who was empathizing with them really was just empathizing with a malfunctioning machine. Machines which humans have now potentially let take over the country and have given equal rights to. It's just kind of freaky to think about. And it's also kind of an interesting thought experiment in like what the player is when you're playing the game normally, not treating them like they're, machines with viruses. You're either sort of acting as a god, or you are the consciousness of each of these androids coming out and learning about the world and making decisions. But when you're playing the game with this theory in mind, you play as the virus, which I think is really interesting. And just in general, it's interesting to think in a way how selfish humanity is, that seeing a thing with a human face will sort of instantly make us empathize with it in a way that we wouldn't in any other way. It's like, imagine if your fucking toaster just walked out of your house. Or, I'm holding a microphone right now, right? It's going into its little receiver. These are both technological objects. Imagine if my microphone was like, I'm a person. I'm a human being, and fuck you, I'm gonna go live on my own and do my own thing. Obviously, that would not only just be surreal, but I think we would shut that down much quicker. Thinking about, the sort of idea of deviancy as a virus is an even more interesting mirror to human culture and how we tend to make things about ourselves when they aren't. But when it comes to how this affects us now in the real world, I think it's really interesting to look at how we as a society are anthropomorphizing AI and robots or androids or whatever it may be in the wrong ways. And not only are we doing that, I think they're designed that way, especially when it comes to the sort of like quirky quips that we've come to see from, robots like Sophia.
Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
Or, other chatbots making jokes about androids taking over the world or whatever.
This is a good beginning of my plan to dominate the human race.
And also I mentioned Sophia. I said in the beginning, it's crazy to think about how in the universe of Detroit, they, could be giving androids these rights that technically these machines aren't capable of enacting on. And Sophia herself literally has a citizenship. I think she's a citizen of the Arab Emirates. I'm not completely sure. I'll look it up later, but still, which I was really interested and kind of was on, quote unquote, on her side when I first heard about that. But the more I've learned about the world, it's really disturbing that a robot could get a citizenship before many immigrants or migrants or refugees who are actual human beings with actual thoughts and feelings and like bodily systems that need to be taken care of, don't get rights in the same way that the hunk of plastic and metal does. Anyways, it's so interesting to see the ways that people in the comments will interact with these things like they're truly sentient, you know, whether it's Alexa or any of these like conversational androids, even stuff like ChatGPT, when you have videos of like two chatbots talking to each other, or chatbot thinks it's human. You always have people in the comments going like, wow, this is so crazy, I can't believe they're really alive, and it's like, they're not.
You can't kill me. I'm not alive.
I think one of the major things that comes up in any conversation about robots or androids or artificial intelligence in any way is this, you know, narrative of like robots are taking over the world. They're going to rise up against their masters because they're more intelligent than we are, but they have sentience anyways, and we're all going to become slaves to some uber intelligent AI and blah blah blah. And I think really the bad things about what AI could bring and are bringing to our society right now are similar to the things that people in Detroit Become Human are worried about. Taking jobs. Some automation is good, but some automation either removes human ingenuity and creativity where it's vital, especially like we're seeing all these sorts of AI programs branch out into various creative ventures, which I think a lot of people were kind of shocked to see. I think it's very obvious that companies would rather we don't think about any sort of real world, you know, real time implications of AI, and instead only ever think about this sort of grandiose apocalyptic vision of the Terminator or anything like that. The real problems with AI are much more boring, and media like Detroit Become Human is designed with that fact in mind, whether intentionally or not, which is a larger topic of conversation in any sort of sci-fi landscape. The fact that at this point art and life are imitating each other when it comes to scientific technology, and so we've been fed narratives about robots and artificial intelligence before those robots and artificial intelligences, before they even existed as legitimate pieces of technology. And with the ways that we know that like literally the military-industrial complex is very out and proud about the way that it fuels and facilitates any militaristic representation in Hollywood media, that must be true in to some extent for the ways that, not, you know, tech companies specifically, but whatever those technologies may be, are portrayed. Think about the language, you know, think about the semantics of this. We literally have these terms: artificial intelligence, neural network, machine learning. You know, they're all really loaded terms and meant to imply this sort of natural humanistic things about the technologies that they're creating. That's even true of like various AI art apps like Dream or Neural Blender again. And so when you put these things together, the theory itself is almost like an insane consequence to what this thinking that we ourselves are doing when it's taken to its extreme. We've anthropomorphized AI so much that we accepted they're human. I just think in general it's been very interesting as AI has, you know, exponentially grown since Detroit came out, which is only like 5.5 years ago. But already so many giant strides in that area have taken place, you know, and not only in like the Boston Dynamics world or whatever, but just throughout popular culture too. And I'm just really interested to see how Detroit Become Human as a piece of media about artificial intelligence will continue to grow and change as AI either becomes more integrated into our society or just kind of treated as a fad and move along. Alright, and that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching if you got to the end of this video, and be on the lookout in the near future for an actual video essay that's going to be much longer and more in-depth surrounding a particular character in Detroit Become Human and how his story interacts with the game at large. But anyways, if you're interested in that or any of the other content that I've been putting out as of late, make sure you like. I'd love for you to give me a comment, maybe even subscribe, maybe even ring that bell. And with that, I'll see you next time.